Hi guys, Joe here and welcome to 750 Gaming. This is part 2 of my Black Templars redo project series, and in this one we'll carry on where we left off and see what else we can add in on the cheap. Okay, so as I said, this is part 2 of my Black Templars mini-series. If you want to go find and watch part 1, then please do, but here's a summary to get us up to date. In the first part, we had a brief look at my 9th edition Black Templars army. Within a few erratas in Games Workshop balancing acts, we quickly realised it wasn't going to stand up in 10th edition, and with a few conversion and kit bashing choices I'd made along the way, it was now no longer a valid army, it's safe to say. This glow up project was actually going to become a full army rebuild. But with conversion and money saving in mind, we left the Crusade at 420 points last time out, made up of a Castellan, a Crusader squad, some Sword Brethren, and the Emperor's Champion. A nice solid foundation upon which to build. So the big question, where to go from here? Well, we're quite melee heavy, which, you want your Black Templars to be, but there's still something to be said for a bit of balance when you're putting an army together. So I think we're going to need something shooty. One of the good things about a new edition of 40k, for Space Marine players at least, is the vast array of plastic sprues that end up on various internet marketplaces. 10th edition and the Leviathan launch box is no different. With a little bit of browsing, patience and digging for the right deal, you can get a steal. So I got myself a Sternguard Veteran Squad. And whilst they are retailing generally for around the £20 mark now as everyone awaits a new multi-part box, I managed to get one of the push fit squads for 15 quid. Very nice. And with the release of that new multi-part box for the Sternguard, I wouldn't be surprised to see the average price of these drop once again. So, I might buy more in the future for this army or the others. These guys are all wearing tabards already, and they have enough bling on them as veterans, so they really fit nicely into the Black Templar vibe without any extra fun and games required. Okay, so far, so good. I then went a bit mad. I fell in love with fire. I very nearly included 2 Pyreblasters in that Crusader squad. I chose a Power Fist instead, but I did also give the Sword Brother there a Pyre Pistol. I'm really enjoying the prospect of Overwatch and all that. Anyway, I found someone selling all 10 Infernus Marines from their Leviathan box again just for the £15. And I couldn't resist it. I'd done a video on my Infernus thoughts and why I think they should be a shoo-in to any Space Marine army going forward, and do you know what? I stand by it. If not the math in that video, because apparently my rather loose grip of rounding up and averages rubbed a few of you up the wrong way there. Sorry. Anyway, Infernus squads. Essentially, my Black Templars are just going to be playing with fire here, but in a good way. I took a theme and decided to run with it. The best way to get rid of witches is to burn them, right? If only I'd waited for that Sternguard box and given the heavy bolter guy the heavy Pyre Blaster. Hindsight maybe. Anyway, 10 Infernus guys. I thought originally I'd probably run them as 2 squads of 5, but then I had another thought. What if I did run them as a blob? And what if I attached a Chaplain? Now historically, one of the big Black Templar plays was Chaplain spam. But without all of their litanies and all of the fun and games that they used to be good for in 9th edition and earlier, I felt they were a bit of a miss for 10th edition. But I've had a bit of a change of heart. I've inferred from all the comments on my Infernus video that the average D6 roll is 3.5. Multiply that by the 10 of those Pyre Blasters and you've got 35 strength 5 hits. Now, for a lot of things, that'll mean wounding on 4s. Yeah, 50-50, not bad. Of course, on the Hordy squads of chaff, that could be wounding on 3s, which is nice, but, the tougher stuff, it's going to be 5s. Without any AP on the Pyre Blasters to impact that saving throw, we're literally hoping upon strength in numbers for these attacks, and we want to get as many wounds through as possible to play the odds. So give that blob of firecasters a chaplain to G's them along with his litany of hate, and suddenly they're all +1 to wound. May the odds be ever in your favour. I don't know what you think, but an average of 35 hits with a 50-50 chance of landing a wound on pretty much anything wandering around on foot, that's alright. And whereas you'd normally have to luck out on 6s to wound anything big, you at least get a fighting chance on, some of that bigger stuff now. Anyway, enough said. As far as I'm concerned, it's a decent buff to unit combo that I feel like I can justify bringing a fluffy Black Templar Chaplain back into my army. Burn it! Burn it all! So I resurrected my retired Stormcast Chaplain, and he is ready to lead these fiery boys back into the fray. Now, the joy of that Primaris Crusader squad is the ton of bits you get on the sprue. If you wanted to go proper overkill, blinging up that squad, then you've got the options to do so. But to me, they've all got tabards and things on the sculpts as it is, so you really don't need to add any more to them. Which means you've suddenly got a load of leftovers to add to whatever other generic Space Marines you've got, to make them more Black Templar-y. Plus, you get a transfer sheet, which, you don't need for the Crusader squad as they've got all those pauldrons with the Maltese crosses embossed upon them. Suddenly you've got a lot of stuff for the rest of your army. Sometimes it seems you can get some value from Games Workshop kits after all. Who knew? And after all those guys were said and done, I found a Stormcast torso I had left over, and a smegging great big banner. I think it's from Cromlech, or possibly Spellcrow. I bought a couple ages ago from Wayland Games, and they've sat around needing a better use than a previous kit bash attempt. Very simply, I created myself a Primaris Ancient. Again, perhaps an unsung hero of the Space Marine world, but if you end up with 55 points to spare somewhere, I think an Ancient, again, should be another shoo-in. Attach one to your Sternguard Vets and suddenly your harder hitting shooty boys get a bit more of OBSEC, and you can play them as beefed up intercessors. And if you've got another 25 or 35 points to spare, you can give them Fire Drill, if you're using the Gladius Task Force, or Witchseeker Bolts in the Black Templars detachment, and you're going hunting with them. My characters here were all created from the Stormcast bits I'd costed in the last video. But at this point we probably need to roll in an extra $5 for all the bits we're starting to use from the bits box. They obviously cost some money somewhere when I purchased other sprues at some point. So previously we were at 420 points for just the original £40. With this lot we've got another 400 points, and for the sake of argument we'll call it just another £35 of outlay here. Well, that's 820 points for just the 75 quid so far. I feel like I've ripped someone off somewhere. Say I dropped one of those Infernus squads and split the difference. I'd have a 745 Black Templars army. Notionally, 750, for less than 70 quid. That's 750 gaming on the money right there. Now, of course, I've kit bashed and converted my way to that total, and I've had to be patient to find the right deals on eBay, but even if you were going to account for the fact you might not have a bits box and you might have to buy the weapons and the bits to go with your Stormcast torsos to build up your fluffy guys, you still don't need to spend much more than 90 quid for this army, so far. But yeah, 820 points for 75 quid. A steal. But not as much as it's about to be in order to finish this lot up to 1,000 points. And you'll have to wait until next time where we apply the coup de grace to finish off this army, and then talk about how it may or may not play out on the tabletop. Hopefully I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Let's go! Yes, thanks for watching. Do give this video a like and a comment if you enjoyed the content, or indeed otherwise, as I do love to read your thoughts and ideas. As ever, this is just a bit of fun for me. I don't have a regular release schedule or Patreon or anything, so hit subscribe if this is something you'd like to see more of, and you can catch my content when it happens. Hopefully, I'll see you next time.